What's up guys, Josh Olfert here, back with another video, and today, Winnipeg, the place I live, my hometown, is back in lockdown. So I want to talk to you guys about this past lockdown. I was curious, how much money did I spend or save? Time to think like an investor. So for those of you guys who are new to the channel, my name is Josh Olfert. I run a business that helps people achieve financial independence by investing and doing financial planning. If that kind of thing interests you, hit that subscribe button and follow along. But today I want to talk about this whole lockdown thing because frankly, it's starting to piss me off. I'm the kind of guy who's like, it is what it is, cool as a cucumber, not really bothered by a ton, hard to rile up. My friends actually have this thing where we'll be out and they'll start jabbing me like with a cattle prod, not a physical cattle prod, but they'll bother me or they'll pick at me to see if they can get me to blow up because I'm pretty steady as a person. I'm cool as a cucumber. Now here's the thing, lockdown starting to really get on my nerves because all the things that I do to relieve stress, go to the gym, it's huge for me. Play golf, it takes all the stress away. All these things are gone. I can't even do them. There's virtual simulators, there's different places I could go to golf, there's the gym. All of these things are locked, and now I'm stuck doing not a whole lot of really anything, and there's only so many Jane Austen novels I can read. But anyways, apart from me trying and failing to, let's say, improve myself over the lockdown period, you know, reading books or doing courses or whatever it might be, I was curious to know, now that we're going into lockdown again, this might actually have some good news, which is that people, their habits change, their spending changes. And for me, one thing I wanted to know is how much money did I spend or save during the last lockdown? So today what I want to share with you guys is my spending. I'm going to go through my fixed spending, which obviously remains fixed for obvious reasons, and also my discretionary spending. How much did my spending change in places like entertainment and travel and food and vices like gambling and booze? But I don't do much of that. I'm kidding. I do a ton of that and it's bad. Don't do it, kids. One thing I will add, by the way, is when I ask for feedback and I get a lot of comments, and a lot of them, for whatever reason, are dedicated towards my hair. A lot of people like to talk about my hair. Apparently it looks like there's concrete paste in there or it's some sort of cement hairspray mixture. The toughest part of lockdown for me is that my barber is locked down, which means I can't get this thing cut every 3 days. So as you guys watch these videos over the next month, it'll be really fun for you to see as this gets larger and larger and larger, like a little, you know, white guy afro. But anyways, let's get into what I spent and what I saved. I'm gonna compare last year, 2019, of our lockdown period, to this year's lockdown, and we'll see how much of a change there was in my spending. So where I'm from, in Winnipeg, Canada, we went into lockdown from approximately March to May 2020. That was the big period. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare. First of all, we'll go through my fixed expenses, the stuff that doesn't really change much. So for my fixed expenses, it's obviously fixed. They don't really change very much. For the sake of reference for you guys, the big ones are my rental property, which is a house, and that's I sometimes live in, sometimes just rent it out fully. Right now I'm renting it out fully, and that costs me about $1,350 every single month. I also have a car, which costs me about $450 a month. I have a massive life insurance policy, which costs me about $225 a month. And on top of all that, I make sure that I'm saving at least $500 every month. I almost treat that like a bill payment. It's a fixed cost. $500 gets saved no matter what. So all in all, the fixed expenses are about $3,030 every single month. And this didn't really change much from pre-lockdown to actually being in lockdown. Those numbers were pretty much the exact same. Now where things get really interesting is in the discretionary expenses. The part of our expenses that eat all of us alive, because we never account enough for emergencies and we never account for how much, you know, you're out one night and you're all having a great time with your friends and then you realize the bill was 3 times what you thought it was, and you get up in the morning and you realize you took a cab home and you completely forgot, and there's all these expenses that come up, you never even planned for them. And that is where the numbers here are very telling from pre-lockdown to now actually being in lockdown. So for a lot of us, and I am really grateful for this because I'm the kind of person, I just need to be eating better. I need to be doing a better job of not going out for every single meal. But for me, I saw my discretionary expenses on food and going out to restaurants, all that sort of thing. Even I included groceries in this. It went from $760 to $300. So for me, it's crazy to think that I was spending $760 every single month just on like one-off dining. And what that meant is overall, my expenses on food went down 61% year over year. That's crazy to think that lockdown reduced my food expenses by 60%. The next biggest thing that really took me off guard was the fact that in 2019, with no lockdown, I managed to spend $484 on my car. And that doesn't include the payments. So that would have been insurance, that would have been car washes, that would have been gas. Mind you, my girlfriend did live rurally. She lived somewhere like way out, so I always had to drive there and spend more money on gas. But all that being said, during lockdown, I spent $8 on all of those things, gas, parking, all that kind of stuff. I reduced it by essentially 100%. It went from $400 and some down to $8. Also in 2019, I was spending a lot of money to revamp my property. I was putting money every couple months into doing, little renovations or fixing things or whatever it might be. And in April of 2019, I spent about $320 on my property. But the funny thing is when you go into lockdown, the last thing you want to be doing is running around to different rental properties, seeing different people, trying to fix stuff up. And it's just not a financial priority at that point. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. If anything, the thing you're worrying about is if your tenants can pay you whatsoever. So I actually invested $0 into the property when lockdown was happening. So I saw that expense drop from $320 every single month down to $0 a month. Now, obviously travel, no one's traveling. And I'm not exactly sure how this happened. I was flipping through these credit card statements to come up with these numbers, and I saw a charge of $127 for a flight ticket. I'm trying to remember what that would have been and how the heck I found a flight ticket for $127. Maybe it was like points that I had used for something. Anyways, last year, April, without lockdown, I spent $127 on flight tickets, and this year, obviously, no one's traveling whatsoever, so I spent $0. Now, I have to say something absolutely ridiculous here because I mentioned it before, the whole hair thing. And I promise, this was multiple visits. I even bought some product. It's not like this is a recurring thing every month. I spent $115 on my hair in April of 2019, getting it faded, getting it cut, getting product, all that sort of stuff. So there's some more ammunition for you guys to absolutely destroy me in the comments. But all that being said, this year in lockdown, I spent $0 on my hair. So which things did I actually spend more money on in lockdown? Well, actually the crazy thing is nothing really except for subscriptions. Lockdown comes around, you're stuck inside. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get the YouTube Premium, you're gonna get Amazon Prime, you're gonna start buying these monthly things on your computer that really kind of just get you engaged and make you forget that the whole world's falling apart. So I actually did see an increase in my monthly subscriptions. It went from $42 every single month to $57 every single month. So I mean, we're talking about pennies here. But at the end of the day, I actually started spending about 36% more on subscriptions every single month. Now, all of this is very anecdotal and we're talking about the specific areas where I spent money and saved money. But the reality is, at the end of the day, across all of the categories, I saved an atmospheric amount of money relative to normal when I was in lockdown. It is crazy. This is the one nice, ray of sun in this whole lockdown quarantine thing, is that we should have a lot more money saved. We should be coming out of this having saved a ton of money. And for me, the total expenses I had, the total discretionary only, not fixed, discretionary expenses in 2019 was $2,180. So $2,180. This year, in lockdown, I spent $785. And what that means is I saved $1,400 in 1 month. That is absolutely crazy to me. And that shows a 64% decline in the amount of money I'm just spending on a discretionary basis. So if we round up or down, whatever it might be, and we take my fixed expenses pre-lockdown plus my discretionary expenses pre-lockdown, I end up with about $5,200 in expenses, give or take. Now, when we entered into lockdown, I saw this aggregate spending drop to $3,800, which overall means I saved, like I said, $1,400. My overall spending, not just my discretionary, dropped by over a quarter, which is crazy. Now, what's the takeaway here, guys? What's the actual lesson? What can we learn from this? And the reality is that at any point in life, if there was some sort of, let's say a self-imposed lockdown. Let's say there's a goal you really want to achieve. There's something you want to do. You want to travel on that trip. You want to save more money. You want to buy that course. You want to go to school. Whatever it is that you're trying to save for and want to spend money on, if you're honest with yourself and you quit lying to yourself, the odds are is you can afford to save up for that if you really buckle down and do it. What lockdown and quarantine is teaching us is that we really just don't want things that bad. If we're not saving enough to get where we want to go, it's not because we can't, it's because we don't have the discipline and we don't have the fortitude to actually stick to saving money. So for me, that's the really big eye-opener here, is the fact that if I wanted to save money for something, or if I wanted to stop being such an idiot with my money, I could do it tomorrow. The really difficult thing is the discipline and sticking to it. A lockdown forces you to stick to it. That's what I'm learning. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoy videos like this where I break down my stupid, ridiculous spending decisions and the fact that I spend $115 on my hair in 1 month, that's crazy. Hit that subscribe button, hit like, turn on post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.